I want to read a verse to start us off here. It says in 1 Peter 3, verse 15, it says, "But in your hearts set apart Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have." That's a verse that we read, and it's a good verse, and there's a couple of different things in there. It really is talking about the gospel. It says, "In your hearts set apart Christ as Lord," and be able to explain the hope that you have inside of us. That verse speaks to us. And if we understand who Christ is and who we are, if we understand that we have hope in our life because of what Christ did, it changes us. It changes us. The more we understand the gospel, the more it changes who we are in this world, because it affects our perspective. We see ourselves in a different way because Christ died for me. God made me. I'm made in His image. I sinned against Him. God loved us enough to send His Son to die for me. And if I accept that, now I live with Him again. If we really understand that, it changes us, changes our perspective. We see ourselves in a different way. And when we see ourselves in a different way, we act differently. We live differently in the world if we understand the gospel well. And that verse, I think, touches on that. But it also touches on another thing. If that's true of us, if we are Christians, if we've accepted Christ, and we have that hope now that we didn't have before, that verse tells us to always be ready to share that with someone else. And if I understand the gospel well, not only does it change me, it can change people around me because I can then explain it. We have opportunities as we go through the world to explain that hope, to explain the gospel to people who need to hear it. Just like I needed to hear it so long ago, you needed to hear it so long ago, and someone shared it with us, we can be the ones that share that. The gospel is powerful. When we understand it, it changes us. And when we understand it, we can help explain it to someone else, and it can change them as well. We are Christ's ambassadors. And so what this next few weeks is about is we are going to learn the gospel. Not that we don't know it, but we're going to learn it in perhaps a more detailed way, a more fine-tuned way. What we're going to do is we're going to learn how to lay out the gospel in a diagram. I learned it many, many years ago. You've maybe heard it called different things, the bridge diagram, the outreach diagram. It is a depiction on a piece of paper of the gospel. I think it's very good. I learned it 35, 40 years ago. It has shaped me, and I've used it as a tool or the platform to jump off to many other people. Let me tell you a story that just happened just very recently. I raise hogs in the summer, and there's a guy that I've known for many years, not well, but he raises sheep and pigs over near Menominee, and I've been buying hogs from him for a while, and I'd picked strawberries there before. So this is a guy that I just have a very passing relationship with. But over the years, he and I have talked. He knows that I go to church. He knows I'm a pastor. Well, I went to get my some pigs from him earlier this spring, and we were just standing there at the back of the truck after everything was loaded up, and he said, "I want to tell you a story." And he said, "This is my Easter story." He says, "I tell this to people, and some people like it, some don't." But he said he went to church at Easter, and he's not a Christian. He's not a church-going man, but he went to church at Easter, and he said, "I was sitting there in the service before everything was going and watching all that was going on, and I started to cry." And he said, "I started to cry because the thought suddenly came to me, all of this is happening because of a jerk like me." God was speaking to that guy, and the first thought that I had was a verse from the outreach diagram, Romans 5:8. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. This guy saw something in me. He knew that I had a hope. Somehow, over the years, he felt comfortable enough sharing that story with me when other people didn't want to hear it. He said, "Some people just don't want to hear this story." He shared it with me. And I then, because I had, probably for other reasons, but because I have learned this gospel diagram so well, it was like, yeah, I get that. And here's a verse, and I shared that verse with me. Yeah, that reminds me of this. God demonstrates his own love for you in this, that while we were still sinners, yep, you're a sinner, you're a jerk, you're just a guy, but all of this, Christ died for you. Yeah, all of this because of you. There's just a brief story of how 1 Peter 3:15 can play itself out, but I was in a position to do that because I knew the gospel. I knew who I was. He saw something in me, and I knew what to say because I had just learned it. That's what this is all about. We're going to learn that. When we get done with this, you're going to be able to just write out the gospel diagram. Maybe you'll use it just as we learn it. Maybe it will just help to shape your perspective. Maybe you'll take bits and pieces of it, and it will be the basis for a different tool for you to share the gospel with people around you. I don't know, but this is a tool for you to really know and understand the gospel so it can shape you and it can shape the people around you. How we're going to do it is we're going to go through this booklet. You should have one of these. If you don't, pick one up in church. If you don't have one, let me know or let Claire know, and we can make sure you get one. We're just going to walk through this. Let me tell you kind of how it's going to go. We're going to take this in sections, and each week we'll meet for 6 weeks. Each week we'll take another section. And so the first week we're just talking about the section of God. Who is God? And so you at the end of it will be able to write that out. You'll be able to write out that section, the main points and the verse references. I want you to memorize this. And I would like you to memorize it before you come to my house for that week. So this very first week on July 7th, we're going to go through the first section on God. I would like you to memorize the God section. It's very short. It's just a few words and a few verse references. I want you to write it out. There's a place for you to write it out in your book. Then when we get together at my house, I will walk through with us kind of how I present it to people. Here are the things that I say. Here are the things that sometimes come up. It will be an interactive time. Well, I've gone through this with dozens, scores, maybe hundreds of people, and I will just tell you how it's kind of played out with me. You can ask questions, but the goal is for you to get it in your head, to memorize it so it's there. And I would encourage you to take this seriously and to work at it. This is not a ton of work, but it's some. Some people memorize easily, some people don't memorize well. I want us to work at this, and we need to take an example from the Awana kids. They memorize verses. They're little kids, they memorize verses, and they do it, this is their verse, 2 Timothy 2:15. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a workman who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. I want us to be workmen. In Colossians 3:23, it says, whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly as unto the Lord. I'd encourage you to take this seriously, to do this wholeheartedly as unto the Lord, because God wants you to understand this for yourself and for the people around you. This is the basis of so much of who we are and what we do in the world. So I would encourage us to take it very, very seriously. So I will see you all on July 7th at my house at 6:30. If you haven't already listened to the first of the Share the Gospel message that we did here a few months back, I would encourage you to go and listen to that. You can find it on our website. That's seacreek.org/sharethegospel. seacreek.org/sharethegospel. That link will take you to that teaching. Listen to that first teaching. You can listen to the whole series if you like, but for sure that first teaching, because it lays a groundwork for in some ways why we're doing this. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited to go through this with you. I'll see you at my house July 7th.